You'll just see a black mass. If a shadow walks in front of it, it'll completely block out those lights, and you can normally make out a shape. If it's a mist type figure, the dots will come off the screen almost and give it like a 3D type of look. So having something like this grid pattern up against a wall where something's known to be seen walking, having it recorded, you can get some pretty good evidence.
And they fill a room. Those lights.
This thing will fill an entire room with just green dots.
It's amazing technology, and they're always developing more and more and more. There's full spectrum cameras, like I was talking to you about, that sees on a different level of light that we can't see on the UV light, that are being made now and being more reasonable in cost. But when they first come out, the technology is quite expensive.
Yep.
So.
Well, that's very interesting, the telemetry that you have to use just to find out what's going on. So what type of hauntings are there?
Well, there's residual, and the best way to explain that is there's energy that has been captured in time and place at that point of whenever that keeps replaying itself over and over again. Like, say, a guard walking sentry back and forth, or a rocking chair just rocking, or a light coming on and then the rocking chair coming. But it's generally just something that continually repeats itself, and they don't know we're here, and we don't know they're there unless we're looking for them.
Yeah, it's something that's it's like a record skipping. Gettysburg, a perfect example. Gun battles. They're not necessarily really like ghosts, but it's just like I said, it's like a broken record. It's like a space within that spot that just keeps repeating itself. They have no conscience that we're there. They just think it is the same time. There's also intelligent haunting. Intelligent haunting is something actually interacting with the investigators or with people. If someone's telling you to get out of a place, or someone answers your question, you know, specifically to the point, we've had names come across when we asked for names. That's an intelligent haunting. It knows that it's there, and it knows that you're there, and it just wants to either talk or wants to make itself known. Another is demonic, which my dad could definitely explain a little bit more on the demonic side.
Basically, and it can be confused with very angry. If somebody's very angry when they're alive and when they die, they're going to be very angry in the spirit world, or they're on. So a lot of people get a very angry person confused with dark energy and demonic energy. And basically, demonic energy is satanic. It's Satan. Generally, the demons are Satan's workers, worker bees, sort of say. There's different levels, different kinds. We're just getting, for some reason, we're getting plastered with a lot of demonic activity lately. It's very scary stuff. You have to get sometimes the clergy involved. It can attach themselves to you. It makes itself known by desecrating religious objects in the house or in the building. You can smell feces, strong feces, or sulfur smells. Generally speaking, the whole place, the building or the room, will be disarrayed. You know, it'll be normal when you leave and you come back, and chairs will be stacked up on one another, and the place looks like it's been vandalized. And also with the demonic, they try to basically break the individuals down to weaken their spirit and their soul and their conscious, so that they can use the humanoid form, because they're not humans. They've never been human, and when they do possess a human, there's an imperfection that's noticeable, usually in the eyes. Like, we have white around our pupils and retinas and stuff, and theirs will be all black or something like that. It's very rare, but it does happen. I mean, you've seen it, everybody's seen it in the movie Exorcist, and it does happen. And when it gets to that point, it's where the religious aspect, you need their assistance.
The last one is a poltergeist type haunting, and that is just like the movie Poltergeist, where it's normally centered around prepubescent children, that their natural energy can throw an object somewhere or can just do some crazy things. And poltergeist activity is is known as the noisy spirit, and that's one where, you know, poltergeist activity, the best example, like I said, is the Poltergeist movie. If chairs are being moved around here and there, there's dishes being stacked or moved in front of someone. Those are very rare, but they mainly seem to happen with families of prepubescent children involved.
Or they're going through a lot of very traumatic stuff in the house, like divorces and adultery stuff, and something that's going to create a large negative energy or amount of energy. Negative or otherwise.
So how can you get rid of some of this unwanted haunting after you investigate? How can you get rid of it?
Well, I have a friend that's a spiritual dowser. He's utilized by respite homes in the area, and other personal peoples ask him to clear the houses of their loved ones, or they feel as though somebody's stuck here and they don't belong here. Spirits who are here are stuck here. They're confused, they don't know, or they want to stay for a reason. But they need to be moved on and let go of this world. And that's what a spiritual cleanser does, is assist the people there.
And we also base it on their faith. Like if someone's a very devout Catholic or Christian, we normally assist them with finding someone within their faith to help them in what they believe would help get rid of a spirit. Like we normally gather people from outside and like outside the community and outside the faith when it's really, really strong, when it's really bad. That's when we bring in like a demonologist or someone else, like we said, John Zaffis before. But most of the time, if it's just something unwanted, they're not necessarily scared, but they really are being inconvenienced. We'll just, if they're Catholic, we'll ask them to we'll get a priest to come in and just bless the house,
And that can backfire on you too. It can upset the spirits that you're trying to get rid of them, and they don't want to leave. And then there's an issue.
Where would be your dream investigation?
I'll let you go first.
Okay. My dream is actually 3 places. I'm sorry, it's just the way it is. Linda Vista Hospital in Los Angeles, California, very, very active. A good friend of ours, Sid Schultz, he's actually doing an event there shortly. But it gets a lot of activity. It's been on a lot of the shows, and a lot of people have reported things there. The Stanley Hotel in Colorado, that was the hotel that was based on Stephen King's book, The Shining, and of course the movie, The Shining. Very active place, and of course Stephen King based The Shining on that hotel because of the experiences he had himself in there. That place, it would be like striking gold for me. And then the last place would be Trans-Allegheny Hospital in West Virginia. Very, very huge complex, and the activity that's recorded there, even during live events, like live television, there's been some crazy things that have occurred. Those are my three places that would be like the dream place to investigate.
And I have 2 favorites, and that would be the Stanley Hotel, of course, because I'm a big Stephen King fan, of course. But the activity that's reported there is out of this world. The other place would be, and I'm pretty sure it's the Sarasota Lighthouse.
Pensacola?
Right? Pensacola?
Pensacola Lighthouse?
Where the TAPS people went. I like lighthouses. My wife collects them and stuff. And I find it intriguing if there is one that's haunted and activities reported and captured. And supposedly there's Pensacola Lighthouse is very active.
Can something unwanted come home with you after investigation? And if so, how do you handle it?
Yeah, I told you we brought some down for you. Huh?
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't know they are. I actually believe I have a little, anywhere from a 5 or 6 year old in my house that came back from Rockwood Mansion in Delaware. I was doing a K2 session that was totally outrageous and unbelievable, like my son was explaining. It answered all the questions. It did every test that we could think of to try and disprove it. And we ended up seeing shadows of the little boy running back and forth behind a silk screen. And I was just talking to it, and we had to end the investigation. It was like after 6 hours, we were totally exhausted. And we had to go to Fort Mifflin the next day, or the same day at that point. And I asked him to give us one last sign that he was here. I told the little boy that it was great that he was showing us he was here by answering our questions, but if he could move something or make a noise, you know, something good that we could capture on film and stuff. And right there, I mean, it was so fast that I didn't even see it, plus we're in the dark, of course, but there was a little button, a little wooden button, like from what the 1800s shawls of the rich and famous would wear back then. It was thread or yarn coated, and it was a wooden thing, and it wasn't there the entire time. It totally wasn't there. And I asked if it was this button was his indication that he was here, and it answered yes on the K2 meter. And I asked if I could take it with me, and it answered yes. But I also asked it if I could take it with me if I promised to bring it back. And so I have yet to go back to Rockwood Mansion, but I still have the button. And I just had, it seems like there's that stuff that's unexplained. Like I'll see shadows, I'll hear noises. I got little feet noises because I ran a digital voice recorder in the house while my wife and I were sleeping. And there's just activity that's unexplained by our cats or anything else, normal house noises. And to get rid of it, if they're not malevolent and they're not harming you, you know, it doesn't bother me if they want to hang out with me.
Dark energy can attach itself, and most places that we've gone has been dark energy. And just a quick example would be like a Bobby Mackey's. The Ghost Adventures Aaron Goodwin himself has even said that he's one of the most active places he's been, but very dark in nature, and he really believes something followed him home to the point where he was having like glasses turn to dust in his cabin. It actually broke up his marriage. Dark energy can, if you exercise it out of a house, it can jump onto one of the investigators if they're not aware, they don't have their guard up, and bring it home with them. That's why one of the biggest things that we say is if you're going to be joining a paranormal group or you're going to try to joke on the side with doing your own little investigation, you better be prepared for some of the stuff that could happen. And it's not a joke.
And us three that make up our group, we have a higher power I call God, and Nicholas does too, and so does Brian. And we've actually said prayers going into places where we've known that there's some maybe possible demonic energy, and when we come out, we'll say a prayer and actually voice that they cannot follow us home, that they need to stay. But that doesn't always work, like Nicholas said.
Well, what is the most misunderstanding thing that the paranormal that is presented to you as proof of ghosts?
Well, actually, I can explain that one, and we actually do have some photos. I don't know if they can be queued up.
Can we cue up the?
Yeah, okay.
Right there.
So here's one of the photos here. A lot of people, we get a lot of pictures, and those pictures have objects floating around. And a lot of people say, oh, here's a ghost, there's proof of a ghost, or can you explain this? What you're seeing here is lint. It's actually, if you could recreate this, if you take out your dryer lint catcher and you smack it and take a picture, you'll get the same type of effect right here. Now we do have more. This right here is, some people say are fairies, but they're not. It's actually bugs. We get these quite often, and you can tell the shape. You can see the antennas, you can see the wings. These are quite common mistakes for paranormal photos too. The next one is colored orbs. These are normally moisture or condensation in nature. If you're outside during snow or rain or fog or mist, you'll normally get these colored orb circles. These are very commonly mistaken for spirit activity. And the last one that we have is your grayer tones. These are very common. They probably make up 98